Worried about the direction of the market at all?
Over the last few weeks, investors have dialed down their expectations for an aggressively hawkish Fed while pricing in a much softer landing.
So is it still, Mike, the sense of to the moon, everything is fine, even after everything we have seen between the last Bitcoin conference in Miami and this one in 2023?
I think people are a little bit too optimistic about where prices might be going.
So how do you position your portfolio in this environment?
Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome back to my channel. A few weeks ago, Bitcoin hit a record high of $30,500, but is now back to hovering around 27k. But Gareth Soloway believes there's more to this story. Are you curious to know what's happening in the market right now? Will Bitcoin prices fall in the future? Is there more pain ahead, and is this the time to invest? In this video, Gareth Soloway is going to share his viewpoint on the current state of the crypto and stock market. So buckle up and keep your eyes peeled for the twists and turns of the Bitcoin rollercoaster. To know more details, stay tuned until the end of the video. And if you want to stay up to date with the latest crypto insights, markets, and the economy, make sure to hit that subscribe button and the bell icon. Okay, are you ready? Let's dive in.
So this is the kicker, right? Is that we are seeing the NASDAQ rally and the S&P rally right now. But this is the amazing thing. This is where I get all giddy and excited because, yeah. So if you look historically, and this is what I do, right? It's looking historically at charts. When we topped out in 2021, Bitcoin topped out in November, right? 6 weeks later, the S&P and the NASDAQ topped out. If you go back to 2017, we topped out in December in Bitcoin, and about 4 to 6 weeks later, we topped out on the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ. And so what you're looking at here is, in my opinion, the NASDAQ and the S&P are rallying, but you're seeing that greed come in, where I think in just the last week, NVIDIA is up like 10-15%, right? It's getting close to all-time highs. That, to me, is the final push-up, and ultimately, we're now at 4 weeks since Bitcoin topped. And so the idea is within 4 to 6 weeks, the S&P and NASDAQ should top, and now you're going to look for a flush. It's like Bitcoin. Okay. Bitcoin didn't get back to all times. It just got to 30,500. But same thing here. We should start to see the next leg down, both in crypto, which has started, the S&P 4 to 6 weeks later, which is right now to the next 2 weeks. People de-risk. When they start to get nervous, they sell their riskiest positions first, which is crypto. Then the next riskiest stocks, and then it goes down the chain. So it makes a lot of sense why Bitcoin would be a leader for telling us that the S&P would top out.
In 2021, Bitcoin hit its highest point in November, and then 6 weeks later, the S&P and NASDAQ did the same. But wait, there's more. Cast your mind back to 2017 when Bitcoin peaked in December, and then 4 to 6 weeks later, the S&P 500 and NASDAQ followed suit. Coincidence? Gareth Soloway thinks not. What does this mean though? Well, it means that the current rally in the NASDAQ and S&P could be the last hurrah before a big drop. It's been 4 weeks since Bitcoin's peak, so we have about 2 weeks left for the S&P and NASDAQ to top out. Then they'll likely fall, maybe not recovering to their previous highs, just like Bitcoin. My friends, history has a way of repeating itself. Will the S&P and NASDAQ mirror Bitcoin's journey, or will they defy expectations? Only time will reveal the ultimate truth. Let's get into the next clip to hear more from Gareth Soloway.
We're still in a bear market in crypto. I think Bitcoin topped out at 30,500 recently, and I actually think we are going to head lower. I'm still in the camp that we're probably not making, we haven't made the bottom in Bitcoin yet. Bitcoin is going through this crazy period where people are just gambling on these coins, and I've said this before, but I've never seen
other coins.
Yeah, on the other coins, but it's all the psychology of it, right? It's when people feel like they can gamble and they can just sell it to someone else higher, and they know deep down there's no utility. That is not a sign of a bottom in a market like a Bitcoin bull market. It's the sign of a top. And so now if you expand that out and say, okay, Bitcoin is still a risk asset, well, what if the stock market does start to tumble? Where does Bitcoin go? And that's my thesis, is that we will hit a recession. The market doesn't think that the Fed won't come to the rescue. The market and investors are conditioned for now 10, 15 years. Every time there's a hiccup, the Fed prints money. I don't think they do it this time. And that is going to be a shock. It's going to revalue the stock market 20, 30% lower from here. and that will take Bitcoin back down.
According to Gareth, Bitcoin could witness a jaw-dropping fall to the range of 12 or 13,000. And if that level shatters like fragile glass, oh boy, we're in for a wild ride straight down to the dreaded 9,000. But by the end of this year, he expects Bitcoin to bounce back to 12 or 13,000, or at least hold steady at 15,700. He also suggests that Bitcoin's fate is intertwined with the stock market. If a recession hits and the Federal Reserve fails to save the day like before, it would send shockwaves throughout the market. The stock market could lose a staggering 20 to 30% of its value, dragging Bitcoin down with it, my friends. It's a double whammy.
On our way down, there's a huge level around 23 to 24,000. If that breaks, you're headed to the 15,700 level, which is your double bottom. And then if that breaks, your next stopping point would be 12 to 13. So I'm very much a trader in that I look at the levels on the charts, and if one level breaks, if support breaks, the likely target is your next support line. And to me, 9 is a very intriguing number because the 10,000 will be max pain. And the markets, there's something about the markets and the psychology of the markets that it makes it so that the market wants to flush the most people out possible. And to me, where would that be? If you ever saw Bitcoin break 10, people would finally panic and throw up. Everyone says, oh, I'd buy 1 million, Bitcoin or whatever. That's nonsense. Panic would set in, and that's usually where bottoms are made. And I'm such a contrarian that I want to see, I start buying when panic, or they say blood in the streets, that's the term.
Yeah.
When you see that, that's when you step up. Vice versa, when you see the gambling that's going on right now and the crazy moves in some of the stocks and cryptos, that's why I start to nibble on the short side.
Gareth has identified some crucial levels on the chart that we need to keep a close eye on. The first level rests around the 23 to 24,000 mark. If that level crumbles like a house of cards, brace yourselves for the next one, the double bottom at 15,700. And if that support line fails to hold, we're looking at a potential plunge down to the range of 12 to 13,000. If one level breaks, the next one is at risk. It's like dominoes falling. So if 12,000 breaks, get ready for 9,000. That's where people panic and sell everything. It's also the very moment when the market hits rock bottom. Gareth Soloway reveals his secret strategy. He buys when there's panic and blood in the streets. He sells when there's too much hype and greed in the market. And that is how he plays the market like a seasoned pro.
So I think that the CBDC is coming. In fact, I think the Fed is purposely, and the government's purposely withholding regulation so that the CBDC can get its foothold before institutions come in to the crypto markets, right? So we know that right now, there's so many institutions that probably want to get into crypto, but there's no regulation. They don't know what the rules are, and they're not going to put hard-earned investor money at risk until they have a firm framework. The government knows that, and the government, just like China did, and this is key, and weirdly enough, we're following the China playbook. China banned Bitcoin, launched its CBDC, the digital yuan, and then is now allowing Bitcoin back in, right? Instead of banning it here, they're just not giving anyone regulation or guidance, making it so hard for companies to operate and so hard for bigger players to get involved until they launch that CBDC. Once that, I would almost bet on it, that once that CBDC is launched and has a foothold, all of a sudden magically we'll get the regulation out there. I personally would also like to see a little bit more regulation and just so I know what I'm investing in, what the rules are. But I think that absolutely some of these other coins, Polygon, for instance, Polkadot, Solana, I think the technology is very interesting and what's being built on them. But right now, I personally dabble in Bitcoin and Ethereum. That's all I'm willing to, because again, it's about quantifying risk. As an investor, as a trader, I have to be able to quantify risk. And I don't, with the government being shady on this, I just can't do that.
According to Gareth Soloway, the government is following China's strategy. China first banned Bitcoin, then launched its own CBDC, the digital yuan, and now welcomes Bitcoin again. The US is doing something similar, but instead of banning Bitcoin, they make it hard for companies to operate and grow. This will change once the CBDC is launched. He believes that as soon as the CBDC takes off, we'll see clear and favourable regulations for crypto. But what about you guys? Do you agree with Gareth's analysis? Will Bitcoin reach new highs or crash down to new lows? Do you think Bitcoin will break below the $20,000 level? Is there more pain ahead in the market? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more updates on crypto and the economy. Also, be sure to give a big thumbs up to this video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Adios.